Welcome back to Sheet Metal is Fun. Today we're going to make an Art Deco lamp. You can mount it on the wall, set it on a table, or it would also make an awesome bookend. Let's go inside and get started. Welcome back to Sheet Metal is Fun. Today's an exciting lesson. We're going to make an Art Deco, which is one of my favorite architectural elements, Art Deco. Of course, I love anything that Frank Lloyd Wright ever did, but I also love the Craftsman era, Art Deco. So, before we get started on our Art Deco lamp, if you've made something from one of our lessons, we've inspired you to make it, or you watched our lesson and you took what we had and you changed it a little bit and made something useful in your life, send us a picture. Sheet Metal is Fun. No. Yeah. sheetmetalisfun@yahoo.com. So, with that being said, we've got 3 entries into the book of Fabulous Fabricators. Just think, this could be you. This is Cam. This is Cam's second entry into the book of Fabulous Fabricators. So, Cam is definitely an overproducing fabricator. So he made a fan housing and a squared around adapter at the end. We have a squared around lesson too. And obviously Cam took a look at that. Here's the squared around, a close up. You're awesome, Cam. Good job. And welcome into the Two Timers Club. Oh, Cam's in the Two Timers Club. Do we have a Two Timers Club?
Yes, we can start one.
We started one. All right, Cam, you're in. So then we have, this is Tiger, and he took our lesson, the handy hardware holder, which is right here. Here's the version we made. We made a handy hardware holder with a hook because we had all these H words laying around and we had to use them up. So we used them all on this project. So Tiger took and did exactly what we want you to do. You don't have to make exactly what we're making. I want you to make something that makes your life better and something that applies to what you do. Looks like he's got an air chuck and some other kind of gizmo in there. So good job, Tiger. Tiger didn't tell us where he's from, so that's Tiger from an unknown destination. Thank you, Tiger. You're going in the book. Good job on the handy hardware holder. Your version, which is what I love. And then here we have Julian, who's an electrician by trade, but he watched our lesson on the dustpan. And man, you know what? Julian's giving us a run for our money on that thing, baby. Look at how awesome that is. Got the handle right. He was paying attention. Everything. Look at that. That's a dustpan that you can brag about. So Julian is from Tasmania, Australia. We are in United States. We're in Northern California. We're on the western slope of the Sierra Nevadas where they discovered gold, and that's why our town is Oroville, City of Gold. So, all right, Julian, that's an awesome looking dustpan. I like it. You're going in the book of Fabulous Fabricators, and if you guys have made something that from our lesson, an exact duplicate, which looks like what Julian has done, or you adapted what we told you into something that fits your application, which is what Tiger did. Love it. I love them both. And you guys are going in the book of Fabulous Fabricators. And now I think, are we ready to get to the rest of the lesson, baby? So we are today, as I just mentioned, I love the Art Deco period of architecture and form. And so I came up with this lamp that you guys can make at home. I mean, if I made it, you guys can make it. And what I've done with this one is I went to the big box store and I bought a swag light kit. The thing I like about the swag light kit is it comes with the switch integrated into the plug, into the cord. But this lamp could be attached. These holes are at the industry standard spacing. If you have a standard wall box in your wall, that's what this screw, these two openings are right here. You could screw it to the wall, or the one we're going to make today, after Stacy and I were looking. It's weird to call you Stacy, hon. Is we looked at this and she came up with the idea, hey, if folks want to hang it on a nail, so we're going to add a little return on the back just to give you something that if you want to hang it on a nail in your hallway, you can do that. Or you could set it on your table, just like we've got it. Or, wait, there's more. Let's pretend this is a book. Bookend. Wouldn't that be awesome to have one on this end and one on that end? And we are going to give you 3 lighting options. This one we added a 110 power to, and so if you do this one, make sure you use a grommet right where the wire goes through the sheet metal. We don't want any chafing, or we don't want it to short out, so make sure you use a grommet. And the light kit came with this grommet. So this is the 110 version, or you can take, if you don't feel like you want to do electrical work, don't drill that hole, and in its place put a candle. What we're going to do tonight, right now it's too bright. It's about noon on a Sunday. Instead of doing the wiring, you can place a candle and just do your lighting with a candle. Or, here's a fun one. I'm going to show you what we've done. I got a couple, it's a little lighting kit, and these are called pucks, like a hockey puck. Something that Don Rickles loved a good hockey puck. So what I'm going to do is if you don't feel comfortable with electricity or a candle, we have battery powered. So I just cut a disc that fits, and it's going to rest on top of this hoop right here. Wait, did I call him a hoop? I guess we're going to call it a hoop. So look at this. I glued one to this side for down lighting, one to this side for up lighting. And it's just going to sit in there like that. Just going to sit in there. So what we're going to do, after it gets dark tonight, we're going to show you what it looks like. But watch this. Watch this magic right here.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to show them.
I'm going to show them the magic. Look at that. Ooh. I know it isn't doing much right now because it's so bright. But look, check this. Oh, red, green, white. Isn't that fun? We're going to go over this again. We'll do it whenever it gets dark here, and you guys will get a better idea of what we're doing. Off. But that's a great little option right there. All right, so getting back to our Art Deco lamp, let's start with, here's, just in case you guys wanted to see, this is a typical shop drawing. And what I'm doing here is, it's everything we make. We don't do any production work here. We're a custom sheet metal shop. So everything we make is a prototype. So I will start with a drawing, and this is This is a visual aid for me since I'm a visual learner, but it's also a proof of concept. And it also gives me a chance to see how it's going to come together. Like you're going to notice right here, the back is 4 inches wide and the base is 4.5. And I went through all of that just to show I wanted this little offset right here. Can you see that, huh? I just wanted to add one more architectural element. I wanted this offset. I didn't want the back and the base to be the same width. This is going to give us a little bit more. Also, the base is 1 inch high. The back is only 1/2. So we have two different dimensions. That's going to give us a little more texture. And we needed this 1 inch in our base to allow for the electrical connection. Let's see, I'm trying to get a good, how's that? Is that a good angle?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there you go. We needed that 1 inch depth on the base so we could make that connection without putting any strain on our electrical cord. Plus, the change in elevation gives us a nice break. Look at what this little corner does right here. Go up this way. Yeah, and now look right down here. Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. Just another little change, just another little stair step. And the Art Deco was known for its stair step and the different shapes all coming together. So now you've seen, this is just a typical shop drawing. Before we make something, this is what I'll put together. All done on my number 2 computer. So let's move forward and let's start making parts. Let's make our base first. And so the base, let's look at this drawing again, huh? Because I want to show folks right off the bat how I do this. The base is 4.5 inches square. It's 1 inch tall and it has a 1/2 inch hem. So whenever I'm making this component right here, it's 4.5 inches. What I will do is I will go to the allowances. What am I going to add to this to make it what it is? So it's going to be 1 inch down and it's going to be a 1/2 inch up hem. 1 inch and a 1/2 inch hem. So what I do is I add all these numbers together. 1.5 inches, an 1.5 inches is 3. And then I'm just going to make myself a note and I'm going to put +3. Now, once I've added all my allowances, I'm going to go back over to the base. So now I have a 4.5 inch base +3. So I know that if I'm going to make my base, I'm going to do 4.5 plus my 3, my allowances, and that's going to be a 7.5 inch square. That's going to be for our base. Now the back is easier because the back, I didn't turn a hem on. The back is just a 1/2 inch deep. We're gonna add a little bit on the top here, and you're gonna see that as we get to it. So the back was easy since all we're doing is adding a 1/2 inch 90 all the way around. So I didn't do this for the back because this is a 1/2 inch 90 all the way around. I already know I'm just going to look at my back, and the back is 4 by 9 3/4. I'm only turning a half, so I'm just going to add 1 inch. I'm going to add the half and the half, and then I'm going to say, hey, look out there, Elsa, shop kitty. I'm going to take this 4, and since I'm turning a half and a half, I'm going to add 1 inch. So that 4 becomes 5, 9 3/4 becomes 10 3/4. So I didn't do this, I didn't need this visual aid because I'm only adding a half, and it's really easy to just add 1 inch. So let's start with, I've got it shown here, back first and then base, and then we'll go through the hoops after that. Let's go straight to the back. The back is Oh, it's the easy one. We're going to come over here to our tool tray that we made. Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it says right here, mark and notch. Can't notch it until I've marked it. We showed you how to make this scribe on our lesson with the grab bag of tools. So we're going to mark it and notch it. This is a 1/2 inch. We're turning a 1/2 inch. We also made a simpler scribe. If you went to this lesson, you don't have to make the whole Christmas tree. We make one that's very small. Now, as a professional, I would use this. Look at this. That's right. I would do a 1/2 that way. That's the double. Here's the single. I don't think Stanley makes these anymore, but you could probably find them if you thought you needed them. So, we marked it. We marked a 1/2 inch all the way around. Now let's notch it. Those of you that watch a lot of our lessons, you're going to notice this is going to be in every lesson. Oh, this is that thing we added, hon. I added a 1 inch. Now once we bend that up, we're going to have a place to hang it. So let's take this really simple notch right here. If I start here, I'm going to notch there, put my snips at the end of my notch. She really wants to be in this video, doesn't she? You love Art Deco, don't you, Elsa? Yeah, Art Deco is awesome. All right, so I made one notch here. Now what I'm doing is I'm covering that drop with my snips. So when I finish this cut, this piece is going to go to the floor. Right? That's the right way to do it. If it hangs on a little bit, that means you're doing it right. Because the one surefire way to make it not hang on is to do an overcut. If I overcut both of these, this piece would drop right out. The fact that it hung on a little bit, that means we're on our game. So that was right. Let's see. Now, we're going to cut this. We're doing it wrong. So, wrong. No, no good, bad, wrong. Now, what happens is when I make this second cut, since I can see this piece, it has access to my eyes because I can see it, it can see my eye. So now when I make this second cut, I'm just going to cover it with my thumb. But if I didn't cover it with my thumb, it could come up. So the sequence is cut here. And then on your second cut, when it's going to come off, you want to make sure you're covering it with your snip. But I've got this hand not doing much here, right? Oh, wouldn't that be funny if I just cut one wrong right there? Is funny the word I'm looking for?
Ironic.
What?
Ironic.
Ironic. That would be ironic. So our second cut, we're covering the piece, so it's going to go down when we finish the cut. But I've got this finger here anyway.
It's not doing anything.
It's not doing anything. So what I'm going to do right now, yeah. So what we've marked here is a 1/2 inch, a 1/2, and a 1/2. We marked a 1/2 here, but look at our drawing. Look at our instructions. We're going to add an extra 1/2. So see, this is just 190 degree up, 90 degree up, 90. Look at this one. Let's bend this up, see what we're going to come up with. We're going to step over here to JB. We have a lot of very expensive and industrial strength tools here at the worldwide headquarters of Sheet Metal is Fun. But I'm Our objective is to show you what you can accomplish in your home shop. So we use JB. You'll put a link in the description if folks want to find JB. So when this is flat like a table, then that means we've bent a 90-degree bend. Just think, somebody could be watching us for the first time on this lesson, huh? If you're here for the first time, we are glad to have you. So I made one bend. Let's bend the next one, and I'm lining up right on that scribe line. That's going to give us the best corner. Ooh, look at that corner, huh? They're both of these are the same. Look at what a nice corner that is. So on this one, I could go under here and bend it up this way, or I could hold it out in front. And on a small piece like this, it's really your personal preference. We can put it out front, bend it this way. I'm only showing you two different ways to accomplish the same thing. If you went to, we had a lesson. Do you remember what the lesson was where we showed them how to make a folder? Folding tools? Folding tools?
Folding and forming?
Folding and forming? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think it's actually in our, hey, remember that time I said it's actually in our, it's not in our, it's right here. I'm looking for something where it's not. If you don't have a JB, you can go to our lesson where we showed you how to make a folder. This one is 1 inch deep. See this? Look, we could make that 1 inch bend. I put this stopper in here at 1 inch. But if I wanted to, I could go to the mark on 1/2 inch and we could bend it that way. So if you don't have a JB, you can go to our lesson where we show you how to make a folding tool. But we got JB right here. So now, this is a good time to talk about sequence. Make sure that you run through whatever you're going to make. Either go through it in your mind, or if you want, do a shop drawing and make sure that that you can do what you want to do. And I'm going to show you, once you see this end right here, if we do this out of sequence, it makes it almost impossible. No, it makes it improbable, not impossible. So the first bend we're going to do is we're going to do this 1/2 inch bend. This is the one that you added so that they would have a place to hang. So look at this. We're going to do this 1/2 up 90. Then we're going to move this in. Let me just show you what I've done. Is I've added this 1/2 inch that our floor model doesn't have. So now we're going to go to the next bend. And we're going to bend this 1/2, and this is where sequence comes into play. This is going to be very important. Oh, I sure like that. I'm going to tap this just a little bit. I might actually have to bend that out. Ooh, I like it. Okay, now we're going. So let's look at the back on the one we made. It looked like that, 1/2 inch 90 all the way around. But then my sweetheart pointed out if they want to hang it on the wall, then this doesn't hang very well. So what we did is we added this other 1/2 inch. So now it would hang nicely on a nail, right? This is what we had. Bad. This is what we have now. Thanks to you, baby. Good. So all we did was added another 1/2 inch and turn that into an additional break. But now let's go back to sequence because this is very important. If I would have bent this bend first, it would have made it very difficult to do this bend. I wonder, can I just show you? Because I want to show you on a piece of scrap. So I want to show you, when we're talking about sequence of bends, I want to show you how this could be done wrong and how we did it right. So we did a 1/2 and a 1/2. So that means I marked it at a 1/2 and then 1 inch. Let's do this one. Same thing. 1/2, 1 inch. Let's do one of these wrong. And sometimes if I'm laying this out, sometimes I'll actually mark myself a sequence. First one, and then the second one. So let's do this properly first. That's a good foot to start on, don't you think? So we're going to go to our 1/2 inch mark. We're going to do it right. Here we go. 1/2 inch 90. Now, this one says number 2. We're going to go to it, and we're going to bend that a 1/2 inch 90. And when it comes around and touches the front of the brake, because this is a 45 degree, 1/2 up and 1/2 back is 90 degrees. So you'll notice we have a little bit, all of this material, all the sheet metal that we work with has some level of memory. So if you want to finish up at a 90 degree, you have to go past 90. I'm exaggerating, but I'm exaggerating for clarity. You have to go beyond, bend it beyond 90, and then when that memory of the material kicks in, it'll come back out to the number you really want. You wanted a 90, but we bent it over, and then when it springs back, you're going to end up with the result you want. So that's why when I had this one, you saw that I had to tap it with a hammer a little bit. And you'll see that right here. This one's nice and 90. This one's less than 90. Earlier when you saw me working on that one, that's what I was doing. Adding a little bit more to this second bend. It doesn't take much. Oh, it takes about that much right there. So now you can see they're both 90s. So that's done properly. That's done the way we want you to do it. So now let's go back here. You got excited about making your Art Deco lamp, and you bent the wrong one first. Doesn't make it impossible. None of this stuff is impossible. But let's say you bent that one first. Right? I bent it up till it's flat like a table. That's a 90. So I bent the wrong one first. Now that means I've got to bend this one. And when you look at it, I can't get to it from this direction. And to get to it from this direction is going to be very unsatisfying. But we said earlier, nothing's impossible in this stuff. Here's what we would have to do. If we had gone out of sequence and made this the wrong way. Now look, we're only up to about a 45 degree and we're already hitting the front of the brake. And that makes that second bend very difficult. But in the spirit of nothing's impossible, we're going to bend. You don't want you see your project doing this. We're doing this because this is wrong. Wrong. For those of you that have the volume turned off, wrong. No, no, no. So you can see how much we've affected the material in a way that we didn't want to affect the material. Let's see if we can get some of that out right here. Look at that, we're coming right around. Remember how we talked earlier about nothing's impossible? Look at this. So we did it. We did it wrong, created more trouble for ourselves, took more time. And this is actually a very forgiving material. What we're making here, we're in the United States, and so we use the American steel and wire gauge. This is 24 gauge. Oh, look at that. I'm making which is about 19 thousandths. So it makes it's good to work with, and it lasts for a long time. If you've seen some of the projects we have, I made some organizer bins. Which one? Oh, this is, I think this one, is that one 30 years old? I think that one's 30 and that one's 40 years old. Made out of upside down. Made out of 24 gauge gal. So it's on the lighter side, but it's very workable and it's very durable, as you can see by the 30-year-old and the 40-year-old things. So the upside is it's easy to work with. So we just made a mistake and we were able to fix it and save it. If this material was any heavier, this would have been extremely difficult to do what we just did. So go through it in your mind, go through the sequence, and make sure that you can still accomplish what you want to accomplish in the end. So look at that. We have this return here. It's going to hang nicely on a nail. I don't think we need that anymore. All right, let's move on to the base. We've done the back. Let's move on to the base. The base is going to be 4.5 inches square. And it's going to have a 1 inch and a 1/2 inch hem. So 1.5, 1.5, total of 3. I made myself this note. We took that 3, added it to the base, and that's how we got 7.5. So here's our piece that is 7.5 inches square. Let's go ahead and notch that. So when we notch this, we're going to leave this little tab in here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see that in the... You can see that tab in there?
Yeah.
We're going to leave that 1/2 inch tab so we have a place to put a rivet. That's going to give this corner a finished look, and it also gives it more stability. So this is going to go... here's how I'm going to cut this. Oh, so what I did is I marked, put the 1/2 for the hem, and then I want it to be 1.5 inches. So that's this one. I already marked this when you guys, before you guys got here, I already marked it. Look, so I'm going to, for those of you with the volume turned off, that's twice I've said that in this lesson. I don't think I've ever said it before. There's our half. There's our 1.5. There's our half. So this is, we're going to mark and notch the base. So here's how I like to do this. We're going to go here, all the way in. Now look, I'm going to go straight over here. Same thing. I'm going to cut it all the way in. And now just for fun, since sheet metal is fun, and that's why we're here, just for the fun, we're going to do this side the same way. And the only reason I'm doing these 4 notches in all at one time is to make sure that we have 2 rivets on this side and 2 on that side and none in the front. If we just went around one corner at a time, we would have to remember what did we do on the last one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to that 1.5 line and I'm going to bring it over here. And I came about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to hold that at an angle and you move around till you can see the scribe lines. So I notched that in, but I didn't go all the way to the end. See how it's still attached? Now look at this, to the end. Now I didn't have to look for this little piece. Let's do that again. We're going to go, that was good, huh? I would be surprised if anybody even heard that. Okay, that's how we want this corner to look. We've left this tab in here. It's going to give us something to rivet into. We're going to do the same thing here. Don't go to the ends. And now I'm going to come over here and wiggle that a little bit. And look at that. That pokey little motor scooter is still attached, so we don't have to worry about our friends and neighbors. Notice the piece is covered, but I got this thumb here doing nothing. All right, so we've done these 2 the right way. Let's do one the wrong way. Look, I went all the way to the end. Now, look at this little dangerous thing I got to do. I got to cut this, and that little piece right there that's coming out, I can see the whole thing. So if I can see it, it can see my eyes. So since we've done that, we're going to come over here to our greens, our lefts. This is a good visual aid because some people they ask what's the difference between the reds and the greens. So let's look at that little. There's with a red. Got it? Boo. Here's with a green. Look, same cut, but now we're doing it in lefts. And now we're covering that little piece. And now we have to go around on the floor and look for these. But we did remember to protect our eyes. So that was a good example to show the difference between lefts and rights. So, all right, back to doing it right. Here we go, 100% right. Don't go all the way to the end. In other words, don't detach the piece. And then come in here with your snips, finish it up, And that little sharp thing is going to stay right there. Covering this piece with our snips. All right. Now we're going to come around here. That's a square corner, and sometimes they want to interfere. So you notice this is off at a little bit of an angle. We're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to take that there. Same thing. We're making sure that we cover the piece, right? Let's go back to our greens or our lefts, and we can cut this side. I think since I'm right-handed, I probably use red snips. I bet it's 85% of the time. It's the one that I use most often. It feels the most comfortable in my hand. Even when I'm using my lefts, I generally use them in my right hand. So we've marked it. Is that a good angle?
Mm-hmm.
We marked it. We notched it. Let's bend it up. Oh, let's put our instructions on there. You never know. You could get this far and it's coffee break. And then you come back from coffee break and you bend it wrong because I'm going to make this one going this way. That's not going to hurt anything. Let's do the same thing here. You are always X. X is always up toward you. So this X is here. That means this bend is up toward X. This hem, just like the hem on a garment, this hem is also up. So before you take the coffee break, answer that phone call. Watch one of our lessons on YouTube. Make sure you mark this. And then we can lay this on the bench and we can come back in an hour, or we can come back tomorrow, or maybe this was Friday afternoon and we pick it up again on Monday. When we get back on Monday, we don't have to refamiliarize ourselves with what it is we're making. We already have all the instructions, everything we need, because right now, while we are marking and notching, the project is never going to be fresher in our mind than it is right now, because we're thinking about it and we're figuring out how we're going to do it, and we've got it all done. Let's go ahead and put those marks on there, and then if we come back later, all we got to do is follow the instructions. All the thinking is already done. So since the thinking's done, let's go over here to JB and let's turn these hems all the way over till it stops, and then we're going to flatten that out. So all I did was fold it over and flatten it out. Let's do the same thing again. And we're on a roll here, baby. I got a good feeling about this. 1/2 inch hem. I like turning it around this way because I want to see the closing of the hem, and I want to follow the progress that I'm making. So I tend to do my hems that way, in that order. Let's do one the other way. The way you like is the way you should do it. Now, you saw the way I want to watch the hem close, and I want to watch the progress being made. But this is also 100% a good way to do it. Now, right here, if I clamp this, I'm going to put a back bend in that hem. So let's do it. Let's put a back bend in it. Then I don't have to describe, I don't have to use a word and then you don't know what I'm talking about. Can you see that crease that I put in there? That's a back bend. I'm going to hold this real still and you get the right angle. So now our metal comes over and it goes down and then it comes back up. That's bad form right there. Don't do this and then show your lamp to your friends and go, this is how Ken showed me how to do it. Ken didn't show you how to do that. Oh, wait, I did. Okay, don't do that. I did show you, but I showed you as an example of what not to do. So let's go ahead and I want to do it again, but this time we're going to bring the piece down a little bit. And we're not going to smash it because that's going to give us a back break. Let's try if we just cover all the way. If we just cover it, give it a nice little smash. So now you can see we did this one without the back break, and we did it with the piece in the break, but the secret was to make sure that we had it all the way in the break. And we were able to do it. We're able to do it that way without a back break. Back break, bad, no good. All right, so now we have our hems, and we talked earlier about sequence. Anytime you're bending something up, your sequence always has to be the first thing you do is the step that least affects your finish. So if I turned a 90 up, that's putting a big effect in our piece. So the first thing we did, we went around and hemmed the edges because that really had almost no effect on our piece. That didn't hinder the next step. So when we talk about sequence, make sure you always start at whatever makes the least amount of progress. Where's that one piece we had? The one where I showed, oh, here. This is back to sequence. You remember this. Sometimes we'll put a cross break in something as a stiffener. Now, so if I did want a cross break in this, look, I couldn't do it, right? I would have had to have done that when it was flat. So since we're talking about sequence, all right, so pretend these lines aren't in there. First thing we're going to do is if we wanted a cross break in here, we're going to put it in. And this is in the spirit of always do the step. The first step is always the step that affects your project in the least amount. Because when we put a cross break, now that I've put a cross break in there, that really is not going to have any effect on our other two bends. But if I put these bends in first and then try to come back and put the cross break in, just because I got out of sequence, it's going to make that very difficult. All right, I think we are done with that piece now. So we've got our hems folded over, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bend up our base. So I'm going to go into that 1 inch mark that we made, and we're going to bend it up 90. And you'll notice the first bend that we made is the bend that has these tabs on it. This way we get the tabs get bent up for free. We got those were in there for free. Imagine if we did this one first. Man, I hate to do this, but we are in the figuring it out stage. if I bent this side up first, I can't get myself to make that bend, but I'll do a little. Let's say we bent this one up first. Now that didn't bend these tabs for us. So we can tell just by that alone that was the wrong sequence. You think we can take that back out without boogering it up? Yep. All right. I talked earlier about all this metal having memory. Since there was a crease already in it, it will go back to that same crease. That's how I was able to bend it back by hand. So we're going to go here at the 1-inch mark because that's how deep our base is. We're going to make this bend because when we make it, we get the tabs bent up as part of that bend. Now we're going to come over here to the bench. I want these tabs to go to the inside. See what a clean front this is? That's because the tab is on the inside. It's right there. We don't want that tab coming around the outside. That would never impress our friends and our neighbors. So what I want to do is I want to convince this tab to go to the inside. Now you'll notice I'm over the bench. All I'm doing is twisting. So this is, yeah, love it. Just a little twist. All I'm letting that tab know, the tab just is going to go where I tell it to go. All I'm doing is twisting. Not a lot of pushing, but this, really nice. Look at that. Even if I decide to push, if I'm pushing down toward the table, something changes. Some snazzy car drives by and I can't help myself and I want to look and my screwdriver slips out. It's just going to slip out onto the bench. That's good. We can make a new bench. But imagine doing this out here, right? And what if I was pushing down to make sure I have good engagement? If that comes out, now I've put myself in a place where I don't want to go. I don't want to go to the place where these corners get to touch me. So no good, good. Just a twisting motion. I'm not pushing down. I'm just pushing down enough to make sure the screwdriver stays engaged. So all I've done is offset that tab to the inside. Oh, I like it. That's a good view. Tab, offset to the inside. And then also, this is what I love about a hem. Look at this hem right here. See that open part of the hem right there? And this one? This tab is going to go right into there, and that's going to give us a finish that can't be beat. Can't be beat. Just to make sure, I'm going to take this screwdriver right here, and I'm not pushing. Because if I'm pushing, I'm doing a couple of bad things. I'm doing this. I'm going to get this hand with the screwdriver, and I'm going to get this hand with these edges right here. So I'm not pushing, I'm just turning. So just turning. Can you see how do you see how that opened up? I'm going to let you get in there. Oh yeah, you can see it. It's opened up. Just turning, not pushing. Just want to make sure these are opened up. So I've opened up the hem. I've told the tab which side I want it to go to. Let's go back to JB. Clamp down our 1-inch mark. Now we're going to bend this up. All right. I see a discrepancy right here. What's happening is my hem is hitting my tab. See that right there? We don't want to do that. So what I have to do is I want to increase the angle of this tab. So I've got to take some more off of that tab. This is a good combination for our different snips. I'm going to increase the angle of that tab. Just taking a little bit out. And this one we got to go back to greens just so we can cover it. Because if you see right here, since I've already got a partially bent, I can't get these in and get that, increase that angle. But we can do it safely with our greens. Here we go. We ready? There. So all I've done is I've increased the slope on these tabs to convince them to go inside of that hem right there. A lot of convincing and a lot of manipulation. So now, when we come up, this tab is going to go inside that hem. Look at that. Don't go too far, because if you go too far, you can put a back break. I can actually go too far, and it'll put a back break across the finished part of our base. And it would be a back break that we couldn't take off, just like this one. When I cut this one, I flared it out a little bit, so we're just going to touch it up with our hand seamers. All right, here we go. Back to our 1-inch line. Our tabs are already convinced that they should go to the inside, and we've increased that angle so it will go inside of the hem. I got to watch this side too. So look at that. This is all the way back to lesson number 1. Our first lesson was how to make a pan. That's almost, look at this. Here's lesson number 1, a pan. It's almost that lesson. So here we are. I'm just applying a little pressure to make sure that all these corners are where I want them to be. All right, now let's put those rivets. Is there something you want to get a good look at, baby? Hem down, yep. Tab to the inside. Now, wouldn't that be funny to drill the hole in the wrong side? Look at that. At a glance, you theoretically could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am a goober. We're going to use a 1/8-inch rivet, so we're going to drill an 1/8-inch hole. Somebody's going to go, ooh, the drill bit stopped spinning. But it stopped spinning at the perfect time. So we have our 1/8 inch pop rivet. And my old school, this is the pop riveter that I've had for probably more than 40 years. Let's add that rivet in that corner. Ooh, I like that. Always think twice before you drill. Make sure you put yourself in a good position. I don't think you're going to be able to see what I did is I just barely caught that edge of the hem right there, so I had to flatten it back down. So now let's just make sure we're clear in the hole. I like a nice sharp drill bit, and my dad always said you cut yourself more with a dull knife than you do with a sharp knife. And I think that goes true with drill bits. If you have a dull bit and you find yourself pushing with everything you have so that whenever the drill finally drops through, it throws you over the handlebars, that's an old dirt bike turn. Or could it be a bicycle turn too? So let the drill bit do its work. And if you got a drill bit that doesn't drill, you got to make a trip to the store or the computer. Get one that does. When it quits working, especially these small ones, the small diameter, this is 1/8 inch. I don't try to sharpen the 1/8 inch. When they get to a 1/4 inch, twice as the size of that one, then I will sharpen them once. But I'll sharpen them on the I have a grinding wheel back there that I keep and really dressed up very, very squarely for sharpening bits. But every time you sharpen them, to me it seems like they lose a little bit of temper. And they'll come back, but they don't come back 100%. They come back at some reduced value. And you don't want to be working with reduced value tools. So, there we go. There is our base. Anytime you use a file or a hacksaw, always cut on the push. So we've got our base, we've got the back. So just for fun, we're going to attach all of these hoops to the back, and we're going to put a series of rivets down the middle. So just for fun, let's find the middle of this. We could measure, but let's say, oh man, okay, yeah, that's close. I was going to say I was going to guess, but I guessed almost right on. But if we just want to find a middle marker, we want to just draw a line down the middle. Let's see. Oh, you know what I could have done? I could have done that the right way. You'll take that out in post, right, baby?
Mm-hmm.
So I made a cut. I'm going to go somewhere around the middle, somewhere around where that mark was. Make a cut there. Make one here. Still got it. And I'm going to make a mark down this side. And a mark down this side. Alright, well that didn't prove my point very good. I actually made it, I got it right down the middle. That was purely accidental. Okay, so let's say that I didn't get it right down the middle. Let's say that I was off by that much. Yeah, here we go. So I drew one mark from this side and one mark from this side. I accidentally got that one right, and it made this a little more cloudy. But I have one mark here and one mark there. Right? Because I just took a wild guess and I marked it there. No, not that one. I marked it there, then I marked it there. And since I marked one from this side and one from that side, I know that even if this one from this side, see how it's the long one over here? It's long. And I turn this one over and it's long. I know that between those two lines, that mark in between the two lines is the center. So even though this one is going over the center and coming too far, and this one's coming over the center and going too far, I still know that between those two lines is the center. So I want to make sure I make this clear. Let's shorten this up. I'm going to take some off. I'm going to take off a bunch because we're trying to make a point here. Now, I keep hitting it right on. Okay, let's make it shorter. Okay, so now I'm going to put a mark there. I hope these are showing up on camera after all the effort we're putting in here. Right? I'm making a mark from here. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to make... Are you following me, huh?
Oh,
You hear?
yeah, I'm following you.
And then I'm going to make a mark from here. Now look, they've both come up short of the center line. Where before, they both came up long of center line. From this edge, I came over and made this mark. And from here, I came over and made this one. But I still knew that in between those two marks was the center. So now, this one is short of the center, also short of the center, but still the same rule applies. Halfway between these two marks is still the center. Did I go a long way around the rugged rock right there?
You might have, but
Okay, it's already in. It's already in. We already did it. But I just wanted you to...
Somebody who's gleaned that information.
I wanted you to see that there's two ways to find the center of this. Even if you go long and long, center is between the two. And if you went short and short, center is still between the two. All right. Now that... So what we did on ours is I'm going to call this the front of the lamp. And on the front, I wanted that to have the cleanest possible. So let's just make sure we're going to call this the front. Let's call this opposite of front. And so that means whenever we put this on, we're going to put opposite of the front to the back. Oh, and also since we turned this half, went through all the trouble to put that on, this one for hanging, let's make sure we don't waste all that extra time and effort into putting it in the wrong place. So now, coming back to I just eyeballed this distance because sometimes it's easier to just use your eye and go, okay, that's that much. This one's also that much. We could have marked it, but then we would have to use our eye to look at the mark. So we're flush on the bottom, which is what we want, and we have the same amount sticking out on both sides. Hey, kitty. Hey, kitty. I've got I've got a new tool here I'm going to introduce you guys today. I'm going to drill 2 holes in this. No, wait a minute. 1 hole in this. I want you to see this new tool. It's called a Cleco. C-L-E-K-O. It's Cleco. Commonly used in aircraft. I know a lot of sheet metal guys that they've never seen them. So what? And the different diameters are color coded into the Cleco. This is 1/8 inch. Copper is 1/8 inch. Black is 3/16. So whenever you're looking through your selection of Clecos, you can tell by color which one you want. So look at this. What it is, see what's happening right there? So it's a temporary fastener. Now, since I've drilled that hole, and I'm going to come over here and drill this one, and I have a temporary fastener in it, I can make a small adjustment here. Yep, I like that. Let's drill this hole.
Ella.
Noticed I use a very low RPM. And since we are doing a Cleco demonstration here, look at this.
How do you load it? You are going really fast. Some
So-
people might not understand how this works.
So what happens, this has a little cup on the top that captures that pin, so you have a little wiggle room, right? And then the what do we want to call that? Receptacle. Let's call it a receptacle. It catches the shoulder on the Cleco. So then the Cleco, when you activate the pliers, it pushes that plunger down. And by pushing the plunger down, it's pushing this out past, you see there's 3 things here. There's a tab in the middle and there's 2 sides. Once these get out past the blade and in the middle, they get thinner again, and then whenever I let go of it, it actually opens back up, and that's where the fastening, or that's where the traction takes place.
Here.
Oh.
Let me see. No.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick this in. You got a good view on it there?
I think so.
Then I let go.
Yep.
Now, look at that. So it's like a temporary pop rivet. So this is a very handy tool. We got these on Amazon. Came in a little blue bag. I bought the set that was made in USA. It was a little more expensive. You can get some that are more affordable, but it came in a bag and I think it had 25 Clecos in it, didn't it, baby?
I think so.
25. But also, Clecos also come in. Look at this little e-haw, right? Look at this. Same thing, but it's a clamp, right? And if you think that's probably the end all, be all, look at this one, a long reach e-haw. I call it an e-haw because if you put your finger in there, that's the exact word you're going to use to describe the experience. So there's a long e-haw and there's a short e-haw. Isn't that a handy little deal? Look at that. Just think, if that's exactly what you needed, there's a long reach e-haw and a short stubby e-haw. Wow, look at that. E-haw. Oh, I was just saying that. It didn't get me. I didn't really experience an e-haw there. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, is let's add a third rivet. 3 rivets. I like that. So now that I've introduced you to the Cleco and the e-haws, let's go ahead and replace these Clecos with rivets. One at a time, why not, right? We could use that additional stability. If we take them both out, this could pivot on that center rivet. All right. And we've met a new tool, the Cleco. And the e-haws. Honestly, I don't know what they're really called.
Pico clamps? Come on.
I never really thought about it, but Cleco clamp would be awesome. That's a great name for a Cleco clamp. What'd you call it again?
Pico clamp.
Cleco clamp.
I just made that up.
You just did that,
Just kidding.
hun.
I don't own the rights to
23 years, and you've done it again. I'm impressed. Okay, so that's it. Not the e-haw anymore. Cleco clamp. You heard it right here, folks.
Yeehaw sounds better. Sounds funny.
Yeah, but Cleco clamp doesn't have the ow that really hurts. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our hoops. Now we have our base and our back. What I did here at the shop is I folded a hem on these and then we rolled them up, and I'm going to show you how we do that. But you guys might not have all the tools that I have here, or you might not have a cat with no tail. She came like that that wasn't part of an unfortunate shearing accident or anything like that. She was born with no tail. And so I like to fold a hem on these hoops, on these rings. But in case you don't have all the spiffy tools that we have, look at this one. Look at our drawing here. We have 2-inch typical, so these are all going to be 2-inch. Typical just means all of them. I could have said the top one is 2, the bottom one's 2, and the next one down is 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 3/4. But if you see 2 and then typical, that means they're all the same. That's why this number is the same on the cut size. They're all 3 because I folded a 1/2 inch hem on each side, which brought them back down to 2. So we have a 7, 6, 5. You see which way this is going? Cleo clamp.
4.
4. We're going with a 4, so each ring has a 1-inch offset. So 7, 6, 5, 4. So I like to fold a hem on it, but of course we have all the hemming tools, and that does make them more difficult to roll up. So here's the home version. You don't have to fold the hem, but I would like for this edge to not be sharp. So one of the things that I got as a Christmas present a long time ago is a knife sharpener. And this knife sharpener, it did about a half-hearted job of sharpening the knife. But look what a great deburring tool. Oh, it's almost opposite. This is supposed to sharpen a knife, but it's actually dulling the sheet metal. So now the edge isn't sharp. So if you're at home and you want to make sure that when your lamp is all done, you don't have a bunch of sharp hoops, find yourself a knife sharpener, and then you just drag it along the edge, and it gives it a nice rounded edge. So what we're going to do, all this material has a memory. We've talked about that already in this lesson. And so it all is going to have some kind of a spring back. And because of that, we're making the second ring up. We're making the 5-inch ring. And because of that, we have to roll it tighter than a 5 so it can spring back to a 5. So we're going to start out with broccoli cheese diameter. And then if we have to, we'll go down to chili. We'll go down to chili diameter. And if we really need to, we can use this. We can go down to table leg diameter. And I don't mean to brag or anything, but I have gone as far as broom handle diameter. Oh, look at the kitten over there, hon. Get a picture. Get it for a picture. Kittens love boxes. All right. So, like I said, I don't mean to brag, but I have gone as far down as broom handle. But today we're going to start with broccoli cheese. And so I'm going to take this piece that we've already deburred, 16 1/4 by 2. We'll look at those drawings here in a minute. And I'm just going to roll this. We're going to go to broccoli cheddar diameter. Ooh, look at that. Did you see how much spring back? It was all the way down to broccoli cheddar. And look where it sprung back to. Now I'm going to flip it back and go the other way. Going to stick with broccoli cheddar because I think that's the right diameter. Yeah. So, broccoli cheddar did it today. If we needed to, we could have went to chili. We could have went all the way down to table leg, right? If we wanted to really roll a tight one, we could have went all the way down to table leg. But broccoli cheddar got it done. So we have We have a 1/2 inch mark on here. I'm going to bring this around. Can you see that 1/2 inch mark right there? Let's put it on that 1/2 inch mark. Gave it a clamp. Yep, I like it. So since this is a 1/2 inch lap, we want to go somewhere in the middle of that lap, which would be a 1/4. And we also want to go in the middle of this one, the 2 inch. And so that's going to be a 1/4 inch from the edge, and 1 inch down from the top. Then we're going to come over here to our piece of wood. Make sure that we don't drill any holes. We want the same number of holes that we started the day with, as far as our body, right? Here we go. I like that, man. I like a nice sharp bit. It's like my daddy used to always say sometimes, boy, that's what he called me. Oh, we're going to put this rivet from the inside. He didn't say that. I was back to the lesson. But what my daddy used to always say sometimes was, boy, I like a nice sharp drill bit. And then he would say, go tell your mama she loves you. So what I did here, you weren't there. That was 1964. So what's somebody going to do? Disprove my, right? So we put this rivet in from the inside. And now what we're going to do is we're going to peen the rivet over. Man, which way? I want to do this. Yep, look at that. Ooh, I like that. We peened it over. The reason we peened it over is because it's going to go against the back. Look at this, hon. That rivet is going to go against the back. And we don't want all that belly button. We don't want an outie on our... See that? Mm-hmm. We want an innie like this. Or pretty close. That's about an average amount of innie and outie. So this is what you could make at home. Deburr the edge. It's not sharp. With our knife sharpener, oddly enough. And that one was rolled to broccoli cheddar. Could have went to chili. Table leg, broom handle, if we really wanted to get fussy. So now that I've shown you, here's how you could do it at home.
For each diameter of ring, you just picked out whatever size.
Yeah, so I started off, I kind of looked at the size that we're making. That's part of our shop drawing, is I try to draw everything to scale. This is 9 3/4. This is a 7-inch diameter. Notice that 7-inch diameter is slightly less. So if you draw everything to scale, it gives you a chance to see, is that pretty much what I want to come up with? So this is a 7-inch, and then I just made a 1-inch diameter decreasing all the way down. And since this one is flat on the back, that gave us the right amount of stagger, the right amount of step. Now, when we bought this, we bought the Swag Light kit. So, if you were so inclined, You could make this a swag light. You could leave this base off, and in place, wait, don't go anywhere. With the swag light kit came this one. On the end of this threaded, oh, I think I have one in here. On the end of this threaded rod, this hollow threaded rod, we could probably call it a bushing and wouldn't be wrong. You could make this, can you see that threaded rod right there where the wire enters the fixture? We could have used this instead of a base, and we would have had to made two of these stair step, what do we call them? We're going to get to that. A ring brace or hoop brace. We could have put this in, and we could have hung this thing. We could have made a swag lamp out of it. So for those of you out there that are really creative and you got a lot of swag, make a swag lamp and send us a picture. I would like to see that. Wouldn't you like to see a swag lamp in our Fabulous Fabricators? All right, Cam or Tiger, Julian, or any of the other Fabulous Fabricators. Make one, make it a swag lamp. You're going to go right to the front of the book if you do that. All right. Showing off their swag. So here we have our base and our back. We showed you how to make a ring at home. Now that we've showed you how to make a ring at home, I want to show you how we make a ring here at the shop. This ring that we're making is 5 inches in diameter. So 5 times 3.14, which is pi, is 15 3/4, plus the 1/2 inch lap, so we can make a hoop or a ring out of it, makes it 16 1/4. So this piece is 3 by 16 1/4. That includes the 1/2 inch lap. So now that we've done that, let's go over here. I want to, you guys get a chance to see. I'm going to show you how we would make it. So I'm going to come right over here. This is just a giant industrial size JB. JB stands for Junior Bender. This big bender. See how fast that was? All right, now same thing again here. 1/2 inch. All the way over till it stops. Take it out, flatten it. So I folded the hem on both sides. Right? Now we're going to go over to the slip roll. So these first two rollers in the front, there's a gearbox inside, and as I turn the handle, it draws the work into. Can you see the direction these are rolling, hon? So through this gearbox, I'm turning the lower one, but there's a gear that's actuating the top one as well that pulls the metal in. Notice the back is just an idler. It's just rolling. And what it does is that as the work is drawn into the slip roll, it actually, the farther in the idler roll, the tighter your radius is. So if we backed the idler roll way out, we could get a giant radius. But we don't want a giant radius today. We want to roll up an Art Deco lamp. So just to make sure we don't make it too small on the first go around, I loosened up the idler in the slip roll. Slip like in slip and fall or slip and slide. So now I'm this far, I'm going to bring the idler in, and that's going to decrease our diameter. I'm going to leave the front alone, the front right where it is for right now, because we might get everything we want. I'm going to tighten up the front a little, tighten up the idler in the back. The only thing you can do that makes more work is if you make the diameter too small. Then when you try to open it back up, sometimes it'll put a back break or a crease. So we're bringing it in a little bit at a time. So here's the reason it's called a slip roll. You can open up the roll, push down this handle, and slip your piece off. That's really why it's called that. That way, once your project is in the slip roll, you don't have to deform your project to get it off. This one raises and lowers the top roller. Slip roll. This one's a 36 inch. This is a 48 inch. And when we're rolling stuff on this slip roll, we power it with a threading mule. It goes on right here. And then that machine powers up the big one. We're not on the big one today. We're on the little one, the 3-footer. All right. Are we ready? So here's what we've done is we've rolled this up. Now you see those two hems right there? You got it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to slide this tab into those two hems. Oh my goodness, did you see that? I got to do it again. Out, in, out, in. I feel like I could do this all day. I mean, I love it when a plan comes together. So I'm going to tighten that up. I'm going to put a clamp on here. I'm making sure I go over the top of that hem. And we're going to drill a hole just like we did last time. 1/4 inch in and 1 inch down. So we're down 1 inch and we're in 1/4. Down 1 inch because it's 2, in 1/4 because there's a 1/2 inch lap. I think you guys got that, but I couldn't help myself. That's what happens in an unscripted masterpiece like this. Can you believe my dad used to tell me, go tell your mom she loves you? She fell for it every time. She loved me. We're going to put this rivet in from the inside. I like that, man. We're going to peen it over. You could also call that dollying it over because this is a dolly bar. Let's see. Yes, so that means since I am a highly skilled, highly paid professional, we made it with a hem. And now, let's look at this list again. So we have a 7, a 6, a 5, and a 4 inch. I think I called it a ring. I apologize for that hoop reference earlier. let's call it a ring from now on. So we have these 4 rings, 7-inch times 3.14 is pi, and that gave us 22 inches. Notice each one of these has an additional 1/2 inch added to it for the hem, for the lap and the seam. So a 7-inch is cut at 22 1/2, 6, 19 3/8, a 5, 16 1/4, 4 inches, 13 1/16. What I've done over here in these circles is I've taken this number before I added the half and I divided it by half, which would give us halfway around the circumference. And we're going to use that as a reference to make sure we get all these rivets in the front so that we don't just wonder where that hole is going to be. We're actually going to roll this and just put a mark, a temporary mark. I use these pins and they're water-based, so you can take the mark off with any kind of water. So we peened the pop. And then here is our 4 hoops. Rings. Man, I'm like once I get that needle stuck in the record down in that groove, I just go back to hoop every time. Rings. Here's our 4 rings. 7, 6, 5, 4. So we're going to start putting our lamp together. I want to start with the top one. You notice the bottom ring has a little space at the bottom, and I just wanted some of the light to be able to come out of the bottom. But this, we've got a little space here, and that's also a fudge factor. So what we don't want to do, we don't want to start on the bottom, because then when we stack these rings, the top one could end up high, right? It could end up like this, right? Mm-hmm. That's terrible. Or it could end up like this, not as terrible, but still it ain't that, right? So what we're going to do is our top ring is going to be our first one, and we're going to make sure we start off with a nice flush surface. And we're going to attach that one on, and then we're going to put the next one up tight to that, and then we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. And then whatever this space ends up at the bottom, that's going to be awesome. We're just going to tell everybody that's what we wanted, whether that's 13/16 or 3/4 or even 11/16. It's still exactly what we wanted, right? Who's going to tell us? Who's going to tell us any different? So what we did is we found the middle with our middle marker, and we know this is a 1/2 inch hem, so I want to go in the middle of that. So we want to go to 1/4 inch. So we know this line in the middle is our center line, so we're going to go 1/4 inch. That's going to be our first ring. I'm just seeing if you're paying attention. It's been a while.
I don't really think you're wrong on either description.
Oh, it could be a hoop or a ring?
Yeah.
What else could it be?
A circle.
It could be a circle. You know what? There's always terms like, it could be a gizmo. I mean, if we call that a gizmo, who's going to tell us, no, it can't. That's the one thing it can't be. It can't be a gizmo. Yeah, it could. It could actually be a gizmo. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come down 1/4 inch, because that's where this one is, 1/4 inch down. And I'm going to drill a hole in our first gizmo. You know what? I don't like gizmo as much as I like ring.
Okay.
Band.
Band.
I
Yes.
love, this is a band. So I'm coming down 1/4 inch in from from this edge because I want to be in the middle. And I'm going to come down 1/4 inch from the top. Let's go ahead and put a mark on it. 1/4 and 1/4. We got a nice sharp drill bit. We're going to make sure that our hand is somewhere way out of the way. We're in 1/4 and we're down 1/4. We're drilling through. The drill bit stopped, but I'm stubborn. Ha ha, I win. Take that, band. Right? So, we already peened the pop, right? Because it's going to go against the back. I'm just going to get this out here and get a few of these out. Peen the pop. Okay, here we go. I feel like I spread the hem out a little bit whenever I drilled it, so. And then I feel like whenever I just peened it right there, I closed it up a little bit. So I'm just going to make sure I'm sticking through enough that when we go into the back, we've got an awesome success story right here. Look at that. I couldn't like that any more than I do, baby. So now I've got in the middle of the hem, I want to come down to the middle of this hem. This is 2 inches. One of these is 1/2. So to go from the middle of this hem to the middle of that hem, we're going to go 1.5 inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what would have been awesome if I would actually put that line down the back. So I made 2 lines, and we talked about this earlier. We know the space between the two, right in between those two is the one we want. And we decided we're going to be 1.5 inches. Now, I'm measuring this so you guys get an idea. But when I made this one, I didn't measure it. I eyeballed it. So in between those 2 lines, 1.5 inches down. And you you did? That's man. That's just another reason why you are so awesome. Yeah, that did take a while. I think part of the problem is I've got all these really awesome clamps, and
I'm wondering why you didn't clamp that.
why didn't I clamp it?
So you could push it a little harder.
Yeah, I could have put a little bit more on it if I would have clamped it.
That's what I was
So
I almost handed you a clamp.
why don't you can stop right there.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to put the rest of these because I'm just going to repeat the process for the next 3 rings. And when you come back, like, I'll have these rings on.
Okay.
Want to do that?
Sure.
All right, I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, we're back. See, that didn't take any time at all. We have all 4 of our bands, rings, hoops. Band, ring, hoop, gizmo. They're all attached to the back. And so now we've got a little bit of, see this wiggle room right here? We don't want that, right? That's never going to work. So what we're going to make is this stiffener that's going to go and tie all the hoops, rings, bands, gizmos together. And to do that, let's refer to our shop drawing of the ring brace. So when I'm adding things up, when I'm adding fractions, I like to make it as simple as we can. So these are the dimensions of this ring brace right here. Each step is an inch because the diameter is decreased by 1 inch as they go. So we're going to make that right there. So I've got it drawn out. It's 1 3/4 and 1 inch, 2 inch, 2 inch, 2 3/4. The last one's longer because of this space at the bottom. So how did we get to 16? Let's do this. I'm going to show you the way that I do it. You don't have to do it this way. You can use a calculator or you can use your method, but I add up the whole number. So 2, 4, 6, 7. That's 1 3/4. And then I come back and add the fractions. So we have 7 plus 3/4 and 3/4. We know that's 1.5 inches. So 7 plus 1.5 inches, 8.5. A lot of what we're doing when we're building things, we're creating, is that we're trying to engage our mind and we're trying to use our faculties in ways that we ordinarily wouldn't. So that's the reason every once in a while I like to add the numbers up in my head or on this piece of paper instead of a calculator. And this way we get more bang for our buck out of this entire exercise. So we did 2, 4, 6, 7 plus 3/4 and 3/4 is 1.5 inches. That's 8.5. Now let's come back here. 1, 2, 3, 7 and a half. 7.5. So we did 1, 2, 3 plus 4 is 7 plus a half, 7.5. 7.5 and 8.5 is 16. So we cut a piece 16 inches by 1.25 inches. So I want this to be 3/4 and 1/4 and 1/4 because I don't want it to get too wide because the light can't shine through the brace, and because it cannot shine through the brace, let's keep it to a minimum. We don't want a brace losing all of that light. So we want to have it be as narrow as we can, but also a width that's appropriate enough to hold the rings in their configuration. So that's 3/4. You can, all of these things, like we noticed with the Fabulous Fabricators earlier, you can change this. You could make that a half. You could make it anything you wanted. But since we're making it my way, we're gonna do it 3/4. That's a nice width. It's firm. And so I've cut a piece here, 16 by 1.25 inches, which means we're gonna have a 1/4 inch hem and a 1/4 inch hem. You can see that hem inside there. And that way, if anybody does reach inside of our lamp, it's not sharp. Or like we did earlier when we made our own ring, as long as we deburred this edge, we're not making something sharp. You can make your brace without the hem. but just deburr that edge. Now let's mark our 1/4 inch. There's a 1/4 and a 1/4. That's what we're going to hem. You don't have to at home. You don't have to put the hem, but since I'm a highly paid, highly skilled professional, I'm going to go ahead and add that. Why'd you laugh at that? You're the bookkeeper here, hon. Am I highly skilled, highly paid professional?
We're highly skilled, highly paid, baby.
Okay, thank you, Pumpkin. I mean, you don't want to crack a joke like that and have the accountant go, whatever. The bookkeeper, the brains of the outfit. All right, so now we've cut our piece 16 by 1 1/4. We're going to turn a 1/4 inch hem and a 1/4 inch hem, and that's going to leave us with 3/4. So I'm just going to go down these numbers and step them off on this piece right here. So we're going to go 1 3/4, and we're going to add 1 inch, so that's 2 3/4. We're going to add 2, that's 4 3/4, and 1 inch, 5 3/4. Right? You still with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all I did was, instead of doing math all the way down, we stopped at a nice even number. And now I'm going to go back to 2 and 1, 2. That might be it right there. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3 1-inch steps. 1, 2, 3 1-inch steps. Okay. And then a half from this side. And then if everything adds up, we should end up with 4 inches in between here. We have 1 3/4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Oh, this last one's 2 3/4. It's right here. Look at that. 2 3/4. Hey, there's no shame in double checking yourself. 1, 2 3/4. I'm just going to put myself a zigzag. Don't look at that one. And now, there's our 4. I still have a 1/4 inch discrepancy, and I can see where it's coming from. I cut this piece 16 1/4. I got the fix for that. $16. Now we go back and redo our half. So we have 1 3/4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 3/4, and half. And that should leave us with 4 right here. So in order to make these easier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark these with we're going to go right here. Oh, look it. Don't use that one. There we go. 1 3/4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 3/4, 4. So all I did was add a series of prick punches on there. I could have at each one used my adorable small combination square, and at each one of these marks, I could have made a scribe. Also, a really good way to go. So let's turn that 1/4 inch hem. JB does 1/4 inches so nice. We're going to try to flatten it out here. No. Here's what I want to do. I want to, in the big break over there, you saw, this would be no trouble at all. But I'm going to take some of this out. Well, I'm going to add some bend. I'm making sure that every strike of the mallet overlaps. So if that's 1.5 inches, I'm never going to move 1.5 inches. I'm going to strike at 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to move 3/4 of an inch down. And that way every strike ends up somewhere around the middle of the mallet. It's such a narrow hem that this is offering a lot more resistance to the break because it's so narrow. If this was longer, we would have more leverage on the bend. But since it's so short, it's offering a lot of resistance. So we took the mallet, took some of the fight out of it, and now we got it. So again, every strike of the mallet, make sure you only move half of the diameter of your mallet so that every strike overlaps. If we hit it here and then moved the distance of the mallet, we would have a pucker in the middle. Did you see what I just did?
No, I was still over there.
If you hit... So if we were to strike it here and then move more than the width of the mallet, we would get a pucker in between the two strikes. So what you want to do is with your mallet, just every time you move, never move more than half the distance of your diameter. All right. I was over there talking about the pucker factor, and you were over here going, man, well, aren't we having dinner with the kids tonight? Yeah? I love being an empty nester and going over to our kids' house and eating their food and emptying their fridge. So we've bent the 1/4 inch like we did before, but since it's so short, it's offering a lot of resistance. So we're going to take some of that, add a little bit more. We only want to move half the distance of our mallet. So now we're going to finish that hem off and even up. This is going to even it up real nice. Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh, JB coming through in a clinch. Okay, so now out here I want to see the smoother part of the brace. In other words, I want to see that. I don't want to see this. Can you see that? Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start, our first bend is going to be this one right here. So that's going to be an up toward the hem. That's our 1 3/4. So we're going to that prick mark that we put in there. And we don't have to smash the breakdown so much that we damage the hem. Look at that. Now we know the next bend is going in the opposite direction, so I flipped it over. Same rule applies. So now we're on that prick punch. And I don't have to clamp this handle down. I'm just barely holding the handle down. There's a 90. Because we don't need to smash and just cause a lot of trauma to the hem. So all we're doing is closing the break enough to grab the work and not let it slip while we perform the bending function. So back over to the next dot, and you can see all I did was I put a prick punch on it. I could have drawn a line, but the prick punch works really well whenever we're making a Z, because every other bend is going in the opposite direction. And the prick punch can be read from either side. So if I would have made a scribe on here, I would have to flip the piece over and make the next scribe here. But if we just ran down here and put a bunch of prick punches in it, we know just what we're looking for. So all we're going to do is flip it over every time. That's one of the nice things about a prick punch, is that it can be read from either side of the metal. And whenever you bend it just right, if you bend it right on the prick punch, it almost disappears. There's that one. This one is up. We're starting across the bottom now. And the last one is up in the back. Isn't that a funky looking piece? And I mean that in the best possible way. So, we hit it with a series of prick marks that could be read from either side. And now we have, what I've done here is I've made this all the way across. The bottom is 4, because our bottom ring is 4. On this one I cut it off short because we ended up putting the electrical fixture in. But the one we're doing with you guys, we're not going to put the electrical fixture in. Oh my goodness, did you see that? All right, let's do it.
Like a glove?
Yeah, let's do it again. Let's pretend like this is our first time. Well, I sure hope this is going to fit when we get all the way over here. Oh boy, if it's going to fit, it's going to drop in there. Good gracious.
Woohoo!
What happened there?
It's almost like you did the math correctly.
Woo! Okay, all right, I can dig it. So one of the things our brace is going to do is it's going to tie all of our bands together, our rings. But it's also down here. It's going to make this bend a little stronger. So on this one, we went 1 3/4. So that means, oh, did I tell the folks how we put these marks on here?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so what we did was whenever we laid out our rings, I gave a number over here. These numbers are half the distance around the ring. So this is the ring that we made at home, and I measured half around, so there's that number. And while I had the calculator out, halfway around a 7 is 11. Halfway around A 6 is 9 7/16. So what I did is I measured halfway around and made a mark. And I think I did it. I think I did it when you guys weren't looking. Yeah, pretty sure I did. So that's what these marks. This is the middle of the base, and this number is halfway around here, and then we did halfway around here, and this way we're going to try to get our brace right where we want it. Wow. Man, I don't know what to say, baby. So I think on this first one, I'm going to put this rivet in the back first. So it's going to be up 1.25 inches on that center line. I can go ahead and drill that hole. Now I'm just going to push that down to make sure I like where it's going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it with my pen. Then we're going to take it out. Yep, we like it. I was going to say, if we like it, we're going to drill the hole. And we do. I'm trying to make sure that whenever we do this, yeah, I like that. That works. I just want to make sure that I keep myself in a safe place. I'm really happy the way this thing is coming out, baby. Yeah, doesn't that look great? Man. So what I'm doing is I'm attaching the bottom of this to the base first. Making sure I like where we're at. Now I'm going to push that in just like I did last time and mark it. I think I can grab it from right there. A little longer to drill because I'm trying not to push so hard that it deform the project. And also, the harder you push, the less control you have. whenever you're in a spot, you know, if you're pushing down against the workbench, then you want to go gung-ho. So, I'm going to put our next hole in our ring up here. I'm just going to put it up toward the top. I'm not going to drill into the brace yet. I'm just going to drill the ring. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is 90 degrees. Because one of the functions that our ring brace is going to do is to make sure that our base and our back, that we lose this flexibility. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to make sure that we're 90. I'm just going to make a mark right there. So if I see it move away from, can you see the mark I made? Mm-hmm. And then if I see it move away from that mark, I'll know that we've got to stop and change our program. You think we could get this in here yet? Ooh, I think we can. So, I'm making sure that I don't lose this mark. That's really the most critical one. And since we got our clecos right here, and this way if we have to make some adjustment, we don't have to drill out a rivet. I must have a burr. I got a burr. Now let's double check, make sure we like where we're at. And I don't like it. Let's see if we can fix that. Yeah, I like that. And now, if I had just the right, if I could get in here with this vice grip, that would be awesome. And you want to grab this very carefully, because if you don't, you're going to be putting a dent right in the part that everybody's going to be looking at. And same thing again. Careful with the clamp. You want to grab it just hard enough that it doesn't move. So I've lined up that center line with the center line of my brace. Taking a little bit longer to drill the hole because I have so many moving parts here. and I don't want to just crush everything. So I'm allowing the drill bit to do what it's designed to do. Now this last one, yep, should be about right there. This last one should come about 1/4 inch short, because remember our last bend is 1 3/4 inches. So it shouldn't come all the way to the top. I'm adjusting this hoop right here. Band.
Ring.
Hunt ring. Who's there? Ring. Yes. This is just a little. I'm just making sure I don't want to see that. Can you see what I'm showing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see that because this is just in here to tie these rings together and add stability to the project. It's not a component. It's not part of the project, really. Clamping that very lightly. I like it. All right. So that ties this in nice. We have stability. We're nice and straight. So now let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's load our popper gun. Take these out one at a time and replace them with a pop rivet. Those Clecos are awesome, aren't they, hon?
Mm-hmm.
I'm making sure that I'm clamping from both sides to make sure that I'm engaging the ring brace. I don't believe it, hon, but I think that's it.
Yeah, we'll have to come back this evening when it gets dark.
So we're going to come back tonight when it gets dark. And we are going to do one with that. We're going to do another one with this. And this. Right? Oh, yeah. I don't know. What do you like, the blue one or the red one? That blue is pretty cool. It all depends on what your decor is. And one with, oh, let's see. Where's our fire stick at? Since we sort of did a...
Put it in there first, and then,
oh,
then light it.
you're always thinking, baby. But, of course, it does help that you've been working with me for 23 years.
It'll look so much better
Yeah.
tonight.
So we're going to come back. We're going to go have dinner with our youngest daughter. And, oh, since you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, our oldest daughter, Heather, bought me, I don't know if you noticed on JB, there's a Ken the Sheet Metal Dude sticker right there. It has the 56 and it has our airplane on it. And so Heather made us, some stickers. There's two kinds. We have this one, Ken the Sheet Metal Dude, which I gotta say, that's a little weird having a sticker. That's weird, but they are great. And then here's Ken the Sheet Metal Dude. Same thing, different angles, different, like, one's more realistic, one's more cartoonish. And so if you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to this address and let us know if you want this one, this is A, or B, you send us the self-addressed stamped envelope and we're going to send you a sticker if you want one. They're free. We already have a job that pays the bills, so I'm not asking you for any money. But if you want a sticker, here's how you do it. Can you see that on there all right? So the next thing you guys see is we're going to go have dinner with our kids, come back, light these Art Deco lamps up tonight, and then Stacy will get this thing up on, get it up and going. So if you want a sticker, A or B, you send us an envelope. We'll drop one in your envelope and send it back to you. Don't send any money. Don't send money. All right.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. We love you. Thanks for your cool stickers.
They're awesome.
Heather's awesome. Stands to reason their stickers would be awesome. All right. We'll see you guys. We're going to go have dinner, come back, take pictures of these lit up, and get this thing up on the air. So we'll see you guys the next time on Sheet Metal is Fun. I think that's it, right, baby?
Yeah.
All right. Bye. We'll see you guys on the next one. All right, we're back. We went and had dinner with our kids. It was delicious. And I'm so stuffed I need a nap. So let's wrap this up so I can get to that nap. Well, not nap. I'm going to go to bed. So we got 3 ways that we want to light this. We have one where I ran power off of the swag kit. Number 2 is a candle. And number 3 is a remote control lighting puck. So I just cut a round circle that fits down inside here, and I glued one puck to each side so we would get up light and down light. And this is just going to sit down in there like that. So let's give them a try. We have the 1/2 inch in the back, which means hangs on a wall. Now, excuse me, after looking at this, I realized that if you're going to hang it on the wall, we don't even need the base. I would just take the ring brace, and it's riveted to the back. You could actually take this off, and you would get more downlight as well. So we needed the base for the table mounted because we needed a place for the wiring to go. And so let's do candle. All right, let me go turn the light out. And we'll leave the light out for the rest of the show. And when I say show, I mean lesson. All right, so there we have it. There is our wall-mounted sconce with a candle. Come over here and get it from the side. And then take the candle out. I'm going to set the battery-powered puck in here. Hang it back on the wall. All right, here we go. Oh, look at that. Let's move our candle over here. So that's the battery powered, and then we also have red, blue, like I'm calling out colors like they don't know the colors, and green. So that's fun, and I did all of that with the handheld remote. And let's just go back to what a great accent piece. So let's go back to white. Swing around and get that from the side, hon. Ooh, I really love the shadow it throws onto the wall. Isn't that cool? And then, last but not least, our tabletop version with the 110 light in it. You want to see what it looks like? Oh, I can't hang it on the wall. I didn't put that extra bend. So look at this. I'll be the Vanna White. Look at. Oh, that's probably trademark. Pretend I didn't say that. Oh, that's great. Hey, go down a little lower. Ooh. All right. I think that's it. So we have the Art Deco lamp. Here it is in the tabletop with 110 power. Here it is wall mounted with battery remote power. And then you saw it with a candle. And I think that's it. Can you think of anything else? Can you see me?
I can see you.
All right. Well, that finishes up this episode. I'm glad you guys got to see it after dark. And we've had a great time doing this one. I love Art Deco. And I love sheet metal. You know why? You know why, hon?
Why?
Sheet metal is fun. Sheet metal is fun at yahoo.com. Thank you for coming. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your encouragement. We'll see you on the next one. See you later.